Hey guys, welcome back to another response video. And as you may have guessed, this is a response to Nerdoptic's review on Hawkeye. The first, I think it was 3 episodes of Hawkeye. So let's just get into it.
So if you were looking for that hard, gritty, violent Clint Barton Hawkeye series,
Why would it be a hard, gritty show? You saw the trailer, right? It's basically an 8-episode Christmas special. If you were expecting a hard, gritty Hawkeye origin story, then you didn't pay attention to the trailer.
it's the Kate Bishop show.
Right. Sure it is. Because they didn't spend the majority of the first episode introducing us to a character we already know from Chick's Notes, 5 other MCU movies, and a TV show, What If? They introduced us to a new character because we already know Clint Barton pretty well, but we don't know Kate Bishop at all.
And maybe that has something to do with Disney stock slumps after streaming growth falls. Disney shares sank as much as 9% Thursday after media conglomerate posted earnings that missed Wall Street expectations and revealed a significant slowdown in its flagship Disney Plus streaming service.
Stocks always fall whenever there's any disappointing news, whether it's earnings not meeting expectations or subscribers numbers not hitting what was expected. This has little to nothing to do with Hawkeye being a flop, especially since the article being cited is dated November 11th and Hawkeye didn't even premiere until November 24th. You also spent a full minute and a half talking about the Disney stock fall and other Marvel Comics issues that have nothing to do with Hawkeye. Yes, they're examples of bad writing. What's that have to do with Hawkeye on Disney Plus? Those comics aren't written by the same people that are writing Hawkeye. So skip.
The opening credits are a montage of her origin.
Heaven forbid they show Kate Bishop practicing and getting better with a bow and arrow as she gets older. I'm sure you wouldn't have any complaints if they had jumped right to her being older without showing any progression.
Little Trouble says she's sorry to mom and then goes to a charity auction.
I think you mean gets dragged to a charity auction by her mother because she's being punished. She's a spoiled rich kid and mom is trying to teach her a lesson.
At this point, my normie friend, you're probably wondering, why is Kate Bishop called Hawkeye and Clint Barton called Hawkeye?
When did they call Kate Bishop Hawkeye? If this happened in the episode and anyone else noticed it but me, please comment below. But is this because they showed a montage? Because it otherwise makes no sense. No one on the show or anywhere refers to her as Hawkeye.
At Rogers the Musical, and we need to stop right there. It's not Captain Rogers, it's Steve Rogers, Captain America.
It's an in-universe musical about the events of the Avengers. That's it. Calling this out is as dumb as people saying that it creates a plot hole in the movies for whatever reason.
The Avengers, the most irresponsible superhero team of all time, aside from not telling any countries, governments, organizations, or any other planets that you're bringing back half of the population of the universe.
Yep, the Avengers didn't tell anyone they were bringing all those people back because doing things by committee works so well with the Sokovia Accords. Can you imagine all the politicians being angry that all the people that were blipped away are going to get blipped right back? I can. They'd want to have a debate about people's existence for 6 months or more. What does this have to do with Hawkeye? Oh, that's right, nothing. Skip.
After the wall explodes, our thieves are looking for a watch.
You'd be excellent at CinemaSins. Skip.
We're not only shown in the animated montage origin that Kate is amazing, we're constantly told how amazing she is.
The montage simply showed us that Kate's bow and arrow skills were improving over the years. Showing her fighting is supposed to show us that she can also fight. But I'm sure you knew that.
Takes on 5 or 6 armed guys who weigh about 50 to 100 pounds more than she does.
Ask any martial arts expert. How much someone weighs is largely irrelevant to what you can do to them. It often comes down to your skill level and then just leverage.
Deus Ex Dog comes in and randomly attacks him for no particular reason, and I'm not really sure what happened to the watch after this point, and they don't bring it up again.
Because it's a MacGuffin? Its only purpose is to move the plot forward and get Kate into the Ronin outfit, which didn't happen until the Russians blew up the wall.
The tracksuit mafia, not being the sharpest tools in the shed, completely forgot that they brought baseball bats to beat up Kate, and they didn't use them to break into the car. They also forgot that they had guns.
They weren't trying to kill her. They were trying to capture her because she's wearing the Ronin outfit, and their boss wants them to capture Ronin and bring her back.
That's right. The New York media, the tracksuit mafia, and Clint all thought this was a boy, and there's some actors in Hollywood where this would probably be totally acceptable, but this is Haley Steinfeld we're talking about.
Because it's impossible for a boy to look like that in the Ronin costume, the only thing you could see was her eyes.
A firefighter ended up stealing the costume.
I'm shocked that a firefighter would snatch what looks like a costume from a building that caught fire. Is it tampering with the scene? Sure. But it's also irrelevant to the cause of the fire, and they probably figured no one would miss it.
And Clint has to go to some LARPing thing to get it back. They waste most of the episode doing this.
And this is why you shouldn't review a show after watching only 2 episodes. Oh, sorry, I guess it was 3. Clint had to send Kate back to that group to get his arrows because one of them is a cop and he needed to retrieve his arrows. That resulted in Kate enlisting them for help. You'd know this if you had waited and watched episode 4.
Her mom either doesn't notice this at all because she's clueless or is in on it, and I'm guessing she's in on it.
Mom is either in on it or simply in love. People do weird things when they're in love and don't always notice strange behavior from the people they know.
And he disarms her, and that pisses her off even more, and she's trying to prove to her mom that Jack is hiding something.
She wasn't pissed that he disarmed her. She's pissed that he lied, and her mom is still not believing that he's far more skillful than he originally let on. Also, her mom had practically no reaction to the fact that he lied about knowing how to fence as well as he does.
Armand's monogrammed candy that Kate found that I said would come up later, well, it comes up later. Jack offers her one after being forced to apologize to Jack. So Jack just admitted to the daughter of his fiance that he murdered his uncle, or it could be nothing. I guess we'll find out.
No, he admitted that he murdered him. Kate can't prove it yet, though, hence why she gets out so quickly. Jack isn't going to do anything to either Kate or Kate's mom because Jack doesn't know what Kate knows about the candy and the murder scene.
And he gets himself caught on purpose by the tracksuit mafia.
Yes, because he was going to get them convinced that Kate was a nobody that simply found the Ronin costume and really had nothing to do with Ronin. As Clint says,
I was about to clear your name from the suit until you decided to crash through the skylight.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we heard earlier that she wants them alive, which I just assume because this is a Disney Plus series and there's no shortage of girl bosses.
Or maybe because in a blink or you'll miss it, we see her in a single shot in the trailer.
In the comics, she doesn't have the most iconic costume in the world, but it's better than this.
So her costume is nothing spectacular in the comics, and it somehow needs to be spectacular in the TV show? This makes no sense. As far as I can see, all the costumes have form follows function. She wears a simple jacket and pants, which seem pretty perfect for fighting.
And now we have Echo, who is, you guessed it, another previously victimized female villain.
Yeah, it's totally shocking that a girl would want revenge after watching her father be killed by a guy in a costume.
This brings us to the 3rd episode, and guess what? We get another origin of a Z-list character in the Hawkeye show.
Yes, because again, we just got introduced to her. Yes, Hawkeye hasn't gotten an origin movie or TV show, and putting it in here would be dumb. They're showing us new characters and giving them a quick introduction.
She is deaf, and the actress has a prosthetic leg, so therefore Echo has a prosthetic leg.
This is the only thing I agree with you on so far. Disney decided to hire a deaf actress that had a prosthetic leg in order to be woke, because it's impossible for an actress to pretend to be deaf. If you think you have to be deaf in order to play a deaf character, please see Charlie Cox of Daredevil fame. This guy got so used to acting blind that he practically blew an audition for Solo because he was used to pretending to be blind.
Now, they present Echo's dad in this show as some sort of soulful saint who just happens to work for a criminal organization.
Actually, Disney doesn't tell the viewer that her dad works for a criminal organization until we see Ronan kill her dad. Then you'd only know that he either works for a criminal organization or is a criminal himself if you remembered back to Endgame with Ronan killing all those criminals.
Yes, we did get the Quicksilver cameo, and that fell flat on its face.
The Quicksilver cameo did not fall flat on its face. It just wasn't the Quicksilver everyone expected. It was the Quicksilver from the X-Men series, not the MCU.
Do you think we're going to see the Kingpin decapitate a guy with a car door on Disney Plus?
That's probably for a couple of reasons. First, yes, because it's Disney Plus. But more importantly, Disney Marvel doesn't own the rights to the Kingpin character. Sony does. That's why you'll probably never see the Kingpin character in a Disney Plus show, and why you only saw his arm and heard him. That's about as far as they can take it without having to pay Sony.
Because we all know Clint was Ronin, and it's all about waiting for the other characters to figure out what we already know.
Are you nuts? Clint wants everyone to think Ronan is dead. That's the whole point of him remaining calm through the entire interrogation. He's trying to convince them that one, Kate is just a kid and couldn't be Ronin and simply put the costume on without knowing anything about its history, and two, that the real Ronin is dead. The last thing Clint wants right now is for any of these people to realize that he was Ronin.
And yes, people do have guns, but there's no danger of them actually shooting anybody. This is Disney Plus.
No, because they don't want to kill them. They're still trying to find out about Ronin. Killing either of them would ruin that possibility.
Then Disney Marvel decides to use this as a moment to clown Hawkeye's original costume.
They didn't clown the costume. They did a simple sketch of the comic costume. I don't even read the comics, and I caught this. They did something similar in WandaVision, which I'm sure you also hated.
It reminds me of this.
Sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
Yes, and we can only hope that that scene in the next Spider-Man movie doesn't play out as long and as dumb as some of the comedy scenes that were in Shang-Chi. There's probably a very good chance it won't, since it's being made by Sony and not by Marvel. Peter likely thinks he's joking because the last doctor that he was introduced to was Doctor Strange, which he thought was a secret identity.
And then she has to remind him who is girl boss.
No, who's in charge? This would be like the president of the company telling you to do something and you telling them that you don't think you should spend too much time on it. They remind you who the boss is and you get to work. He didn't give her reasons to not go after them. He just told her that her dad always focused on the workers, not outside forces. She's clearly still mourning, so reminding her of her dad was not the best tactic to take.
Kate just happens upon a black market auction that's selling the Ronin sword and costume. Oh, and the costume fits.
This is a fair argument to make. The rest are just stupid complaints that make you sound like CinemaSins. Of course things are contrived. It's a TV show. That's how it works. If they didn't have some of those moments, most notably the New York City LARPer sticker, then Clint wouldn't know where to go to get the Ronin costume because it would simply be gone.
The trailers made it look like it was going to be a Hawkeye show featuring Kate Bishop, not a Kate Bishop show featuring Hawkeye.
The trailers made it look and sound like a Christmas show starring Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. That's exactly what we're getting. You may not like the way it's being done, but that's what we're getting.
Hawkeye's Disney Plus premiere underperformed Loki's by a significant amount. Hawkeye's two-part premiere on Disney Plus underperformed compared to Loki, WandaVision, and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
What you didn't tell your viewers is that, one, Hawkeye is considered the least liked Avenger, and two, Loki is one of the most popular characters in the entire MCU. So it's no wonder the Hawkeye show underperformed against Loki. Loki is a far more popular character, so far more people watched it.
And since they didn't get any data from What If because it was so low,
this is simply not true. The same site that has the viewership numbers that I'm using also shows that What If received 1.1 million viewers in its first week.
I do think his role's been diminished. I do think this is a bait and switch.
I skipped the last couple of minutes because it's just another rant about Marvel creating strong female characters. There's nothing wrong with that at all. As far as I can tell, they aren't tearing down existing male characters, so this shouldn't be a problem. There are literally thousands of characters for Disney Marvel to still use, so it shouldn't be surprising when they want to bring more women characters to the screen than men characters. As long as they don't ruin the existing characters, and they don't seem to be, it shouldn't be a problem. That's all I've got for this one. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so you can get notified of future videos. And we'll see you in the next one.